First of all, I would like to pay homage to the Buddha, who is the exalted one and enlightened one. And may I pay homage to the Dhamma as a teaching of the Buddha. And may I pay respect to the Sangha, who are the noble one and the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, good evening, dear all friends and all audiences who are watching and following this Monkchat Facebook Live right now. I am Pra Sontavi Intasaro, who is the moderator of this Facebook Live that going to lead you to have some discussion about the Buddha's teaching, the meditation practice, and also question from all the audience. So today I feel very delighted and very happy to be here once again every Tuesday to have this Facebook Live. So I also invite one monk who is going to be my partner, going to join my conversation. So I will introduce him and let you get to know him. Hello, Pante Varapanyo. He is the American Buddhist monk. He have been ordained in Buddhist monastery for several years. He is living in Myanmar right now. So I'm very happy and thank you so much for your time to be here with us. What about the weather and how are you, Venerable Pante Varapanyo?
Thank you for the kind introduction, Venerable. The weather here is quite suitable. I'm now living in Myanmar, where I've been since the beginning of the pandemic. And
Yes.
Glad to be here. Like you said, I am Bhante Varapanyo, a monk from America, and looking forward to our talk, our exploration this evening of the Dhamma.
So I would like to inform something to all audiences first. Every Tuesday for this Monkchat Facebook Live, we will focusing on this topic is about the meditation practice. So if any audiences who are in the process of training and try to practice meditation, but if you have any problems, issues in your practicing, so you can ask any question to in this Facebook Live. So we will be here around 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes to help you, to explain you, to guide you. Okay, so first of all, may I greet all the audiences. Thank you who give compliments, send some sticker to this Facebook Live. Okay, welcome you all to Dhamma discussion. All right. Today, I have invited Venerable Varapanyo. He is the American Buddhist monk. So that's why today he also told me earlier that in America, it's also has an important day. So something also happened in America, so many things as well. So I would like to hear some ideas of Pra Varapanyo, who is the American Buddhist monk living in Asia, Thailand, and have view, about the situation in America. So, would you please, Venerable Varapanyo?
Sure. So many people know of the tumultuous situations that have been going on, conflict, violence, anger, greed, negative thinking that's been going on in the US recently and has come to a head in a lot of protests, rioting, a lot of violence. And today or tomorrow or yesterday, our days are a little bit different here in Southeast Asia versus in America. But today is the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, who was, of course, the revolutionary civil rights leader in the 1960s that was eventually had his life taken from him. And Martin Luther King Jr. spoke on behalf of people of color, Black people, African Americans in the U.S., and encouraged engaged nonviolent resistance to oppression and to the systematic violence, systematic racism that was going on in the U.S. and continues to go on to this day. So to perhaps draw some parallels between this social injustice and social unrest and environmental suffering and the inner suffering that we deal with in meditation, we can understand that all kinds of things happen. All kinds of difficulty, all kinds of stressors, all kinds of mistakes. We can't really control in a full sense what's going to happen in the world or in our mind. But when we decide to meditate, when we decide to show up in our lives in a compassionate, loving, mindful, concentrated way, we're taking a stand for nonviolence in our mind, non-anger, non-greediness, non-delusion, non-negative thinking. So that's really the practice, and the emphasis in meditation is to make a stand. And when we are able to do that regularly in our own lives, we can develop even more of an appreciation for someone like Martin Luther King Jr. Or many of the civil rights leaders that exist in the world and have existed in the world, fighting for peace, for justice, for safety, for nonviolence in the world. So the suffering of the world and the suffering within ourselves, they go together. They're interconnected. And when we take responsibility for the suffering that we have in our own mind, in a sense, we're also taking responsibility for that suffering in the world. Or at least we're giving ourselves more of an opportunity to deal with that suffering in the world in a way that doesn't promote more suffering, in a way that's skillful. So I'd just like to take a moment of silence, just a brief moment of silence to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights work that he's done for nonviolence and for peace on this planet. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I would say about that, what I could offer about that.
Thank you very much to show some your attitude and let our audience get to know more about this day, So let's come to our main topic today, that we're going to discuss about some problems that practitioner have been suffering when they practice meditation. So this question also derived from some practitioners send some comments in our Facebook Live to let us help him. And also for those who are watching us right now, if you would like to ask any question to our Buddhist monk, so you are allowed, and we are so happy to ask your question. So I would like to invite Venerable Varapanyo to suggest and give more technique to those people who are try to practice meditation, who are a newcomer. After they practice meditation, they also struggle, face the problem that all the like a lost energy, energy down or feel breakdown after a while, in order to because of many suffering arise, not just only the physical pain, but also suffering with their own mind, own thoughts to uh, uh, distract, you know. So in order to restore those energy back and maintain and strength our mental energy in daily basis, how to do that. Yes, so that's what I would like to discuss with you.
Mm.
Yes.
Well, for beginners in meditation, um, meditation is a very subtle and very comprehensive activity. So when we meditate, we're taking a very present moment minded approach to our lives, very engaged approach to our lives. So we can't practice meditation in a way that avoids the other situations that are going on in our lives. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people get into this situation where they're having all kinds of problems, all kinds of sufferings, and they're, oh my gosh, I've got to deal with this. How am I going to do it? Oh, I'm going to meditate.
Yes.
So while that may be something that someone can try and may be effective for them, what I would recommend at the beginning is, if you really have this interest in meditation or really have this interest in Buddhism, what you can start with is ethics. What you can start with is skillful living, identifying if you have very strong habits of anger. Particularly anger is very lively problem that many of us have. I know I have it sometimes. Anger, greediness, clinging, having a very contracted sense of me, mine, more, more. Um, and then also negative thinking or negative actions that we're participating in our lives. So if we have that bigger interest in meditation practice and in Buddhism, one of the first things we can do is start questioning or start looking at, how do we live our lives day by day? What kind of habits do we have? What kind of patterns are going on? And so when we do that, we can maybe pinpoint or notice some big issues, some big problems that we have, big addictions, um, big tendencies towards negativity. And so if we want to develop a meditation practice, at the very bare minimum, we have to avoid doing some of those more problematic, more negative, more energy draining activities. And in the same, and this is kind of a passive morality in Buddhism, or a passive ethics, avoiding those really unwholesome actions or unskillful actions. And in the
Right.
same vein, but in a more engaged way, to start doing some good deeds. Could be anything.
Yes.
Could be cleaning your room. Could be volunteering. Could be an
Mm-hmm.
act of kindness, one act of kindness a day. And so
Yes.
starting to practice in that way. And we understand in Buddhism that meditation is the highest good deed, or one of the highest good deeds, when we enter
Yes.
into
Yes.
this state of sincerity and compassion
Mm-hmm.
in our practice. But we don't need to start only with, I need to sit down and meditate for 1 hour out of the blue,
Yes.
because that's not necessarily going to work.
Okay.
You
So
may
you.
you may cause more problems
Uh-huh.
or confusion for yourself if you do that, and you may discourage yourself from getting involved with meditation in the future.
So what you have suggested is st- start to look at how you live in order to be basic of your practice to avoid from an unwholesome thing, or we call the bad thoughts, not to distract you, to down your energy. And the second one is you mentioned that not only sit down and practice meditation. It could be other activities, for example, um, do some good things to other people in order to digest all the tension, in order to feel good, obtain a feeling of what we call the um, passion or merit. When we're making merit,
Mm.
peaceful mind, meritorious action allow us to um, be happy from inside. So that's can allow someone to restore on the back to the path of practice, right?
And also to
Mm-hmm.
how I usually explain it is that um, we practice meditation on a foundation of sila, on a
I see.
foundation of skillfulness,
Yes.
Buddhist morality, what we call sila. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have this foundation of sila, if you live in very unskillful ways, if you're very prone to negative thinking or to not considering the feelings of others or to being actively aggressive or negative towards others or towards yourself, your base, your foundation is not going to be very sustainable. So when you start practicing meditation for even one or two breaths, you're immediately going to start sinking down into samsara, for lack of a better word, or for lack of a better way to say it. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. But when we have somewhat of a foundation of skillfulness, the mind can, over time, as we have these skillful habits and skillful patterns, the mind can become more calm, more open, more gentle, and we can get started with meditation practice in a more reasonable way. And you can begin this through practicing meditation. Meditation is a good deed, and we work on our sila, we work on our morality almost first and foremost when we practice meditation, way before we start having special experiences or deep states of concentration. We're working with the skillfulness of our mind, or the sila of our mind. Um, and so you can do it that way, but for many people, it's just not a reasonable way to approach it. And people think, oh, I want to be a Buddhist, I want to be a meditator, I need to start sitting meditation, I need to start, going to a 10-hour a day meditation retreat. And it just doesn't work like that. We have to take a more contemplative and comprehensive approach to our meditation practice.
Okay, so formal meditation and informal, right? Informal way. What you have mentioned, contemplative. What's that? Can you mention about this word one more time
Contem-
to
yeah,
clarify?
contemplative. Yeah, to clarify about this. So
Yes,
contemplative is more of we're taking an interest, we're taking a
understand.
curiosity, and
Okay.
an exploration. So
Mm-hmm.
usually we go through our lives in this way of, okay, this is that way, that's this way. I'm this kind of person, they're that kind of person, cha 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 cha. We understand everything in this very direct, simple way, this kind of rigid way. But in a meditation practice or in a contemplative way of looking at our lives, we're kind of taking a step back and questioning, is this a reasonable way for me to act in this situation? What about this? What about that? We're questioning and we're opening up. And personally, for me, I've found that that's the heart of a Kalyanamita relationship, a spiritual friendship or a relationship with a teacher, is that they encourage you to question, to open up. And in that way, we can really be compassionate with ourselves. When we have a very rigid idea of, oh my gosh, I'm this suffering person, I'm unskillful, I'll never be as good as someone else. It's difficult to have compassion for ourselves and to take care of ourselves. But when we have this more open, inclusive idea of looking, curious, investigating, what is it like to be me at this moment? That's kind of the contemplative approach.
Yes, yes. So very important to understand about this, because some people, when they think about meditation practice, it's the pictures that arise in their mind is only sitting under the tree, sitting in the hall. After they leave that moment, meditation, it's not exist, or uh, it not is not be with them. So in this point, what you have mentioned is about the informal way to bring back your mind in the moment that you are facing the situation in daily life, how to decide to go to this way, apply the wisdom, and uh, really like conscious, take a action in the mindful way. Okay, that's also part of training your mind to direct your life in a wholesome way. Okay, so another question is, some uh, have problem, when they try to like cultivate, meditation for um, a while, and sometimes desire arise, arise to sometimes want to show up, want to, being in a good or better than the others. uh, so how is that happen, and how to moderate this, because you feel that you have a lot of meritorious action. So maybe it could be another desire that uh, we consider that's good, but it will be another defilements or cravings. What's your point of view?
So unless you're living in a graveyard or
Mhm.
you're, doing Tudong practice or, living as a homeless wanderer or a monk in this way, unless you're doing something like that, these kind of showing off and social roles and social positions, these are going to be a part of life. They're certainly a part of Buddhist monastic life in monasteries, roles and positions and who's a good meditator and who's not, and who wears their robes nicely and who's not. So even
Mhm.
in the Buddhist monastic community, we have these kinds of things going on. The trick, the thing to really watch out for is that even if we're getting involved in strange social situations, even if we are, really trying to, we're really getting into these situations where we're putting ourselves above other people, strange situations, we want to have this relationship with ourselves, with our own heart, where we're not involved with that. We don't believe in our heart that we are better than someone else or that someone else is lower than us. And so when we practice meditation, we can kind of experience that directly. And so one kind of meditation is concentration practice or samatha vipassana practice, that very similar in their application, very kind of drilling for gold practice, or a very strong kind of practice. Maybe a masculine practice, we could say, traditionally masculine practice, samatha vipassana. But there, we also have a metta, or a loving kindness practice, which is just actually is just as legitimate way to develop on the path. Someone could not do any samatha, any vipassana, not focusing on that. Of course, all meditations kind of go together. You know, they support one another. But someone could spend their decades and decades cultivating this loving kindness or this metta practice, and they would also be a extremely successful meditator. Probably, you know, very more successful than some people who weren't able to really dive into vipassana or samatha properly. So of course, we get into all kinds of strange situations, especially if we're in a society, if we have a job and we're a part of a group, etc. But having in our own heart, when we come back to ourselves, that we're aware of our tendencies to, but in
Yes,
our
yes.
heart, you know, we want to have this, oh, I'm just a human being, you know, this humbleness, this simplicity. And we want to be able to come back to that. And that's, for me, that's part of my meditation practice. I'm coming back to this. I'm just a human being sitting here at this moment. You know, it's
Okay,
not.
so yeah, that's right. So finally, um, we don't have to neglect like mindfulness in order to come back to our original or our authenticity, that we are the equal and the same. So that's very helpful for those who have curiosity about this. So we also would like to inform that for those who are watching all audiences, you can have some question to ask Buddhist monk. Okay, right now, so you can write comments down below in the comments box, and we will have a final session for answering your question. Okay. Another point. This will be a deeper one. I got this question also from the audience. Some, after they put an effort, keep concentrate to single breathing in and out. They try to maintain their concentration, and after a while, sometimes some images arise in that moment. It could be some previous image when we was a kids. Sometimes we also saw some not a good pictures, not a good memories arise. So the question is, how can we get back to our main concentration object and meditate simultaneously in order to not uh, let those mental object dominated your mind. You can ground yourself back to your main concentration object. What's your experience about this?
Mm. So my experience about this, you know, I have some direct experience related to this. And so my experience is that perhaps especially for Western people who have a lot of, we have a lot to reference our egos with. So a lot of media, a lot of movies, TV shows, stories that represent uh, it, specifically white men, where you can see movies and TV shows, etc. We can develop a very strong idea of ourselves and a very rigid attachment to ourselves. So when we begin to dive headfirst into concentration practice, we may find that we uncover the mind in a way that begins to disturb us, because of course at least from a Buddhist point of view, we don't necessarily understand the nature of our mind or the nature of reality through normal ways of thinking or through conceptual ideas about ourselves. So when we start to dig and uncover more subtle aspects of the mind, we go further and further into our awareness, all kinds of things can come up. Trauma, psychological issues can arise, getting deeply caught up in a certain idea or way of thinking or image, whatever it may be. And so my experience with this was when this happens or before something like this happens, practice metta. practicing loving kindness really allows us to let go of that contracted sense of self that's really, really problematic. So I'm important, I'm right, so I have the right to harm this other person. I have the right way of understanding, so I will disregard this person's way of understanding. And it's this kind of contraction, this I, this squeezing around, this holding on to some aspect of ourselves. And when we find those deeper experiences that we maybe haven't worked with before or weren't aware of before, maybe it was some trauma or maybe just an underlying habit or addiction that we have, when that comes up, if we don't have this base or this practice, this tendency in the mind towards loving kindness, towards gentleness, towards compassion, towards friendliness, then it's going to be a very difficult experience. And we may find that uh, it can be a very almost evil like experience, because that's the kind of nature of that self, is to hold on to squeeze, to keep,
Yes.
to the greed, the delusion, the anger. But if we practice metta, we can kind of let go, and we also have this counterbalance. So we're aware of the negative aspects of the mind, but when we get into metta, we can really affirm the loving aspects of the mind, the gentle, the forgiving, the open, uh, the patient aspects of ourselves. And that can resolve a lot of the issues, I would say, that come up in meditation, emotional, psychological, etc. Of course, it's not a cure-all, but if you're devoted enough to practice concentration meditation until you're getting into problematic states, difficult states, where you're no longer able to stabilize and be calm, you should also be willing to practice metta, to practice loving kindness. And that's something that you can do on your own. Now, secondarily to that, or ideally, also
Mm-hmm.
being a part of a spiritual community. So being a part of people who have being
Yes.
in relationships with people who have cultivated their metta, it can really
Mm-hmm.
reorient our mind, and it can give us a different understanding of how we can deal with ourselves when we have those relationships with loving and kind people who are not vaguely loving and kind. It's not a surface level loving and
Mm-hmm.
kindness. It's that these people are vehemently, powerfully gentle, powerfully patient, powerfully compassionate, to the point where nothing you could do could interfere with their compassion for you. And being in relationships with those kinds of people, we would say kalyana mita, or spiritual friendships,
Yes. Yes.
extremely important on the path. And this may be why Buddhist monks are so at the forefront of Buddhism in general, especially in Thailand, in Myanmar, because
Mm-hmm.
relationships with the monks at least represent the Kalyanamita, the spiritual friendships, the spiritual relationship.
Yeah, that's very practical technique that we can immediately apply to our meditation practice. I agree that Kalyana is so important. If you try to practice by your own, it's also very comfortable for you to you can meditate whenever you want. But when you're surrounded by spiritual people, the um, people who have the, we call the radius of kindness, compassion, and we call the powerful of the meditation, we feel more confidence to our meditation practice, and we ground ourselves stronger to our meditation practice. So uh, maybe all the audience and who are following us right now will get some beneficial from this question. Today, I'm so surprised that we got many viewers and audiences. So that's why maybe this important and useful. May I say hello to all the people from all over the world who just visit this Facebook Live. Um, Even good morning, good evening, good night to different people from all over the world. I saw some Buddhist monk and lay people from Asia, like Laos, monks from Laos, from Thailand, from Burma, Cambodia, and Western people, American people. So we are so happy to meet you in this Facebook Live that we cannot travel to see each other, but we can get an interaction through this Facebook Live. So some are from Mexico, South America. Okay. Okay, we got one interesting question from Thai monk, Pra Banok, Pra Nok Ban. Okay, this Facebook account. So he asks that how much good should we do it? Should we do it is enough in this life? Okay, what's your opinion, Venerable Varapanyo? How?
Cannot.
Huh?
Not possible. Cannot. You
Why
can
is
do
that?
as much as you want to do. You keep doing. You keep doing. In the way of the Buddha, you just don't stop. You leave your home. You go out. You leave everything behind, so that every moment you can doing good. Every moment practicing in non-attachment and doing good deeds. That is the way that the Buddha lives. And so, as monks or as people in general, any opportunity that we can find to do good, to do good deeds, to practice non-attachment, also we should take. But that's not the simple thing of, oh, I should do this, this, and this. No, each and every moment we have to consider, how can I act skillfully at this moment? And it,
Mm-hmm.
it has to start with taking care of ourselves. If we aren't able to do good for ourselves, then we cannot really do good for the others. Um, so there is not cannot is my answer to my friend from Thailand.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Shall we move to next question? It's quite long, so um, would you mind if I can read it for you? Hi, sorry, on a day to day basis, when you see so many things that are unfair and extremely emotional, for example, poverty and etc., how do you accept this type of suffering and stop being sad it for it, but all the same time remain compassionate towards it? Thanks.
So the first noble truth of the Buddha is that there is suffering, there is difficulty.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as we are aware of suffering, that is being aware of the first noble truth in Buddhism. That is understanding this experience that there is suffering. So acceptance does not have to be passive. It's more like awareness. So you
Mm-hmm.
are aware of that suffering, you are aware of that difficulty, and you may also be aware of sadness. But when we have compassion, it is being aware of those sufferings, but not being torn down by them, rather inspired by them. So as we give our attention, as we give our consideration and our care to these sufferings, sometimes it may be in a meditative way where we're just being with our own bodies, with our own breath, and we're bringing this energy of calm and love and tenderness to ourselves, to our bodies. Sometimes compassion looks like that. And of course, compassion has to start with ourselves. But sometimes this awareness, this acceptance of suffering is engaged. So you notice a suffering or a problem in your area, and you can try to move from this place of groundedness, from this place of your own self-love, to take care of this situation, to reduce suffering in this situation. But there's never an excuse to not have compassion for yourself, to not cultivate that intimacy and that care for yourself in your own experience. And if you're passionate about the poverty and social injustice, then taking care of yourself in that kind of way, embracing yourself with this compassion, this consideration, is such a gift and a step towards taking care of that suffering. Yeah.
So In my point of view, also has agreed, that when Venerable Varapanyo mentioned that the suffering, the concept of suffering, that is what we have to aware and to understand and to contemplate. But in my point of view, when you have seen that, like poverty or the people who are under suffering, in my point of view, when you have that kind of feeling of suffering for the others and have to apply compassionate in the same time remain that, and it must leading to take some action. It could be like helping them to free from that suffering. If you cannot do that, you can make up your mind that the like a share kindness, compassion, that may those people free from the suffering, in order to not let those things dominate it or distract your mind to being in sadness or unpleasant. So in my point of view, it must be leading to take some action, see some result and put in the practical. So that's very good question that concern to our daily life, and we have seen this a lot. So let me move to the next question. Thank you so much for those who sent some comments and question to our two monks. So would you please share as well if you have something, have some idea. So in this comments, discuss possibility to dedicate the merit of metta meditation to all beings. Regarding Monica question, sorry. Okay, so concern to like previous question, to
Bante, I can no longer
about
hear you. I'm not sure if it's me or everyone, but I cannot hear you anymore.
hello. Can you hear everyone? Do you still hear our audio? Hello, Pante.
As well.
Okay, sorry.
Bante, I can no longer hear you. Oh, okay. I will come right back.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm sorry. Some technical problem can happen during Facebook Live. Okay, so concern to the question that some people, some audience sent to the live, which is very useful after we have heard and hear the explanation and understanding the idea what we have shared, will leading you to put into some practice.
Okay, Bante. Oh,
Yes,
yes, I'm back.
getting better. Yes.
Great.
So maybe audience will hear some noise. Those are from the cicada or insects, right? Bugs.
There are some. It sounds like there are some bugs here
Yes,
outside.
yes. So it's not from the audio, but it's from the bugs and cicadas around the house of the monk, because we live in the forest.
So
Okay,
Bante,
maybe.
how about this question? Did you answer this question?
Not really. Because most of the explanation that you have explained also concerned to a lot of metta meditation, and to apply to restore back of the compassion mind to you. Yes.
But Sabrina, what I would say about this is that
Yes.
we start with ourselves, both in the formal process of metta meditation as prescribed by the Buddha, the traditional practice of metta. We start with ourselves, and then we start there and we focus there for a long time, as long as we need to, so we can have the sentimentality to help others and to take care of others, and this love for others. We can have that sentimentality, but when it comes to the cultivation of it through formal metta meditation, such as may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be compassionate, etc., may I be free from fear, um, we really want to develop more and more that experience in ourselves. And then as time goes by, we become more powerful with our loving kindness. And so then we can really dedicate it through our expression, in helping others and taking care of others. So the stronger that you develop your metta for yourself, that will automatically and naturally progress into, at least in the traditional Buddhist way, towards people you love, and then towards neutral people, and then even towards people you hate, and then all beings.
Yes. Once again, the noise also very loud. I also will let all the audience know that that is some bugs and uh, insects around. Okay, maybe it's
A
bother
high
you. So
frequency,
it's
high
fine.
frequency noise.
That's it's environment noise. Okay, it's the environment around the temple. Okay, so just let the audience know maybe this would bother you. Shall we move to the next question from yes, the Facebook account? I can't read that. I'm sorry. Maybe he is a Vietnamese. Pante, how do I stop all thoughts that come to the mind when I'm trying to meditate, and how do we know this is the present moment? Okay, this might be concerned to uh, our question and answer that we do it earlier, but would you please guide this man one more time?
Oh, koi titu. Um,
Yes.
you will never stop those thoughts. Not if you're thinking in that way. So this may be the most common idea people get into their minds about meditation, and that is this idea that when I meditate, I want to stop my thoughts. I want to
Mm,
control my thoughts.
yes.
No, that's not how we practice meditation. When you are practicing meditation, focusing on your breathing or practicing metta, you feel many things, you have many thoughts, and then you go back to your breathing. That's it. Uh, it's not so important. Is this the present moment? Is this not the present moment? We just going back to our breath, especially at the beginning in our meditation practice. Very simple, very direct, very basic. We're learning to calm down. We're learning to stabilize the mind and to experience awareness. So being aware. When we have many thoughts happening,
Yes.
we're practicing
That's
awareness of
right.
those thoughts. When
Mm,
many noises are happening, we're practicing awareness of those noises. When we see angels and demons and ghosts, and our body starts to expand and we become the Buddha, we just notice it. We just are aware of it, and then it fades away. So that's this awareness meditation practice. So we don't need to get too caught up in doing it perfectly. It's just having a simple method where we come back to the breath and notice the thoughts, come back to the breath. And I would
mm,
add about these cicadas that they may be being drawn to the Dhamma. Maybe they are hearing the Dhamma, they are so happy, they want to come and participate, they want to celebrate with us the Buddha's teachings.
yes, yes. So in my point of view, also agree that to when we meditate, So the terms of trying sometimes can be means two things. It can mean you put an effort, but sometimes you want to own, that concentration. You want to control, the peacefulness that going to arise in your meditation, and then you uh, struggle when you meditate because you uh, have yourself there. In the point when we practice meditation, we have to observe your body and mind, that being in that present moment, your body sitting on the ground, on the cushion, crossed legs, you can feel sitting. Uh, when you get distraction uh, by your thoughts, you also have to aware of um, those restlessness. So those are going to benefit to your practice if you put that uh, to observe, or if you use that distraction to investigate and explore, um, and then you will find strength your mindfulness, yeah, even more. So um, that's some guiding that we can provide you, Mr. I'm sorry, cannot read that.
Koi too, maybe koi too.
Okay, thank you. We got so many questions. Okay, so we will try one by one, and after 1 hour, we also try to summarize everything what we have been saying, and yeah, we will stay here around 1 hour and 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so let me move on. Thank you for all comments. This question from Ila Reedy. I'm not sure that where is he from. How to practice detachment in our relationships with friends and family? Oh, that's the one idea that, and one question that many foreigners ask um, monks when we are doing monk chat, because the word detachment, either concept of Westerner or in English, it means like separation. Uh, so that's why in the Buddhist concept of detach, or don't cling to anything, this might be okay. He's come back. These insects come back.
He's
Okay,
nearly
would
to
you
me.
please clarify the detachment in the Buddhist concept? How it's concerned
So
to meditation
yeah,
practice? Yes.
so detachment is not rejection, as you alluded to, or as you spoke about.
Yes.
Detachment is not talking about rejection. So it's more that we have a fluid experience. So we can really love and care for, let's say, our son or our child, but instead of having a rigid, fixed, kind of clinging view, squeezing view of that child, we can realize that it's impermanence, it's changing. And so in that way, we don't try to hang on to one idea about them, one idea about our family members. It's new, it's fresh, it's unfolding, it's changing. And so detachment in this way is more like acceptance, actually. So you could say, how do we practice acceptance in our relationships with friends and family? Well, you allow them to be as they are. You show them kindness. You have respect for them. You appreciate your um, separation, that you are not the same as them, and you are also not in control of them. And so having these kinds of approaches to it, we're learning to accept the way that they are and not the way that we think that they are, kind of letting go of our expectation about other people. about our family members and our loved ones. So we can accept someone, we can be with someone, and not have a strong attachment about them.
Yes, because we are under truth of the world, truth of the universe, impermanence, suffering, and non-self. That's the ultimate truth that we are undergo of this truth. So we have to apply this mindset in our daily, relationship. That one day we will we will depart each other. Okay, but Buddha's teaching also have mentioned that we do not heed lessful. Okay, we must be mindful that we have very very limited time, so we have to apply kindness, compassion, love to who you are be with. The people that most important in our life is people in front of us. It means that we have to be in that point 100%, be grateful, and you won't regret what it's already passed. Okay, so in this point it will help you understand more about the concept of detachment in Buddhist term, to view more about accepting the natural law, the changings of life. Okay. So welcome back. So do you tell the insects to goes away?
I speak to them. I try to talk with them. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, so surprised. You just leave for a moment and that noise goes away. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your this question from Mr. Miss uh
Boom,
Pong
boom,
Tan. Pong Tan. Dear
boom.
Pante, how can we infect those around us with our compassion when they are not willing to change? Yeah, this is one of the difficult case, difficult issues, that we want to help, want um, to develop. Sorry, to help someone in our life to be a good. But they inject that they won't follow. Our willingness them to be better. Uh, yes. What's your opinion?
So we can't control it, right? We can't control it, and so when we accept that, when we understand that, that can take some burden off of ourselves. Oftentimes, the problems we get into is this idea of I'm going to fix this situation, I'm going to control this situation, and it's going to be better. I'm going to feel pleasant. I'm going to feel happy. So we can't. It's not possible. So we let go of that. Release some burden. We can take a breath. The house is burning down. The person is acting wildly. We can't control it. We just take a breath. We understand that. And then we just do our best, to be compassionate, to be kind in that situation. And each case is a little bit different. What that's going to look like. Sometimes it may be putting distance between ourselves and that other person. Sometimes it might be uh, a talk that you have with that person. It could be a variety of different things. I'm not sure if I'm still
Yes.
coming. Oh, I got disconnected here.
Yes. Okay,
I think
so
I'm back. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so it's a process, and it's we're dealing with aspects of ourselves. Even no matter how strong that situation is, that outside person that's very difficult, we're dealing with aspects of ourselves, and that's not to be defeated or to be passive. Sometimes we need to move to another situation. Sometimes we need to call the police. Sometimes we need to get help from another person and change what's going on in our lives. But when we can or when we need to, we take it as a lesson and we go back to ourselves and we work on being compassionate with our suffering that's coming up, that's arising, and not causing more suffering with that other person, not making it a bigger problem.
Mm.
Avoiding that is definitely helpful. I'm going to go speak to my friend again.
Okay. Thank you very much, Venerable Varapanyo, for guiding this. In my point of view, I'm sorry, I forget to mute my. Okay. In my point of view, we cannot um, change or expect everything's around us going on as we need, as we desire to happen. So everything undergo of the natural law and cause and effect. So we have to put this in our own practice to change our uh, behavior and mindset, you know, to allow us uh, maintain our peaceful mind. Yes. So there are also question concerned to this as well. For example, shall we move to next question, because it's also concerned to like you know something unwanted that happened in our life, like question from Miss Sannon uh, Fitzpatrick, I think so. She lost. Okay, let me get Venerable
Sorry,
back.
having some technical difficulties here, but I am
Okay,
here.
okay. So this question, I'm also very sorry to hear that. Uh, Question from Sannon
Shannon. Shannon.
Fitzpatrick. So she lost her mother yesterday, passed away. Yes, she lost her mother, and how to make her mind peaceful for her death. Um, this is happened to everyone. This emotion, uh, because it's concerned to what we have discussed earlier, attachment, and also our expectation to everything's around us arise and going on as we want. So based on Venerable, you are what you usually guide people when they face this situation to maintain their peaceful mind.
Hmm.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, Shannon, for your loss. I can't imagine how that must feel, having not lost a
Mm.
mother in such a way. Um, what comes to mind is a teaching from Thich Nhat Hanh, in that when we experience those memories that we have with our loved one, or
Mm.
when we see something that reminds us of them, uh, when we feel that sadness, that joy that we had with them is no longer there, um, that's also them. So your mother had a body, but that body was a part of everything, a part of you. Your mother is in you. Your mother is in the clouds. Your mother is in your breath. And when you practice compassion, when you practice your mindfulness, when you really go for a walk step by step, moment by moment, you can invite your mother to walk with you, to be with you in that way. And from a Buddhist point of view, this is really the case, just in the same way that your mother was there for you throughout your life. Uh, so I hope that that can bring some joy or some peace to you in this difficult time. And something that I felt before is that suffering, that loss, that pain that we feel when we do lose a loved one is actually a reminder of all the love that we shared with them. And in that kind of way, it's a celebration of them. It's a link to them that we can touch into and that we can be with, even though their presence has changed. It's not the same, of course, but I think that in a real way, there's still your mother is still there with you, in my point of view.
Okay, sadhu from Shannon Fitzpatrick. Okay. We got several questions that almost very close to the previous what we have been explained and asked. Basic meditation that we can practice in daily life, what we always have mentioned to observe the natures in our body that arise in that present moment, our breathing in and out. There are also several mind objects that you prefer to would like to concentrate. But anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing in and out, it's very basic and ground from your life, because every single moment you take breathing in, take breathing out. So if you trained and practice with this technique, mindful with inhalation, exhalation mindfully, and you will have the very best tools to live your life in any place, in anywhere, in any situation. So the basic of meditation, bring back your mind to connect to your body in any moment. When you sit, you know you are sitting. When you stand, you know you are in standing, in any position. This is some like a technique or a guide that you can immediately apply to any moment in your daily practice. Okay, and you can go back. Sorry, go back to listen as earlier that we have been guide some people in the beginning. You will get more ideas in the advance. Okay, thank you for question from Real Freeman. That's very helpful question. Yes. Oh, there are many audience and question to Venerable Parapanyo. So we have to decide to stop our Facebook Live around, what time is it? In Thailand is 9:14, and it will be around 9:30 that we oh, your friend coming back. Okay, anyway, let it be. Yes, our audience also will use that noise to meditate.
It's a high frequency noise, so it comes through very loudly. No?
Yes, I experienced that. And another noise from dogs. We love that. It's okay. Okay. This question from Andrea Lucen. My husband and I have been married for 14 years, and for years we have been fighting, very mean and toxic. I love him very much, and since day one, I always thought he was the one. Since we have been fighting, I feel like we need space to figure us out. This I will hand over to Venerable Varapanyo. In your opinion, uh, the concern to the relationship, which is
Yeah.
um, very important to live as a couple and understanding each other, and what is the Dhamma that apply to the conflict of the relationship. Yes.
So, Andrea Rulison, thank you for your question, your sharing. I don't know so much about you or about your relationship, but what I can say is that we often take love to be something that it's not. So oftentimes our idea of love is in fact a lust or a attachment, a certain expectation that we have from another person or from a situation. And so in that way, we call something love. We're very romantic about something called love, when in fact it's more related to expectation and attachment. If this person is this certain way, then I will have compassion towards them. I will be kind to them. But if they're not that way, then I will hate them or I will abuse them. And so from a Buddhist point of view, we would not call this love. This is a form of clinging, craving, attachment, and can be very, very dangerous, of course. Toxic relationships or abusive relationships are very common and can be very dangerous. If you feel that you need to take some space to consider what you want to do with your life, then I think that's might be the right thing to do for you. You have to consider that for yourself. But before we can really take care of someone else, we have to be able to take care of ourselves. And if we are allowing someone to harm us, if we're allowing someone to abuse us or to hurt us, not only are we not taking care of ourselves, but we're also not taking care of that person. People accumulate a lot of bad karma, a lot of bad karma, or negative deeds when they act in a way that harms other people. So we should do our best to prevent other people from being able to harm us. So I would say do your best, and I wish you the best of luck in your future and your peace.
Okay. We are sorry that we cannot give such a long guiding and idea about each question, because we have to move to other question, because every question is very important, and we also would like to acknowledge to all the comments and people who send question to us. We will read and answer all the comments uh, as we possible to do that. Shall we move to next comments from? Oh, sorry, it's already done. This short question: how long should we meditate? In my point of view, how long, it doesn't matter, but it's matter how you being in aware and concentrate. You can start from 10 minutes to 15 minutes in the beginning. You can have timer to be like some commitment to yourself to don't leave the don't leave the meditation earlier or as you want. Okay, you can set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you do your duties, observe, okay, your body and mind in every single breathing in and out, okay, or being aware of your thoughts, especially for beginner. You will experience a lot of distraction, images from the past or what you have been doing in daily life. It will arise in your thoughts, your mind. So you have to um, put your effort to observe it until the timer alarm you, and then you can share kindness, compassion, love, respect, forgiveness to all living beings to let you feel gratitude, feel grateful of your meditation. And then you can start to move up um, to longer. So sometimes we mind about how long we're going to meditate, but the most important thing is in each moment that we are observing the quality, okay, focusing on the quality. Okay, that's my suggestion and guiding. In your point of view, is it really matter how long can you do? Can you open your audio, please? Yes.
Bante, I think especially when you're getting started, it's more important that you are investing in it, and like you said, the awareness at that moment, the present moment awareness in your meditation. In general, most people are not going to become meditators. Even in Buddhist countries, you have Thailand, Myanmar, everyone's Buddhist, devoted Buddhist. 95% of people are Buddhist. Not many people are meditators. So, especially when we're beginning to get into meditation, it's a learning experience about is this something that I'm really going to invest in and really going to get involved with. So as little as 5 minutes a day could be quite a strong beginning meditation practice. Even a few mindful breaths a day, just taking a deep breath, gathering the mind, gathering our attention, and bringing ourselves into the present moment, bringing the mind into the body can be a great way to start. And as you get more and more involved, as you invest more and more into your meditation practice, which is something you can't really force, then the question comes, how long should I meditate? Maybe I'll sit for 20 minutes, or maybe I'm feeling quite confident, or I really want to do some practice. Maybe I'll sit for an hour, or maybe I'll go on a meditation retreat. But especially at the beginning, it's not so important how long we meditate, because we're still figuring out, is this something I really want to invest in? And when we determine that we do want to get more and more involved in meditation, then naturally the time will extend, and we won't have this question so much. We'll just more considering, how long will I meditate, not how long is the right time to meditate, because there's no right amount of time.
Okay. Yes. Shall we move to next comments? In order to acknowledge for all the comments, so sorry, um, um, let me read this. She also shared about her ideas, what Venerable Parapanyo have said.
Maybe I can read. I can read for you, no?
Please.
From Bear Burton, I've lost too many people the last 2 years, culminating into the ultimate loss of my mother on December 13th at 11:30 a.m. She was and is my queen of my heart and my angel, and I am so blessed to have had her in my life. And I don't know if I'm still in shock, or she is just actually still here with me. But I haven't broke down the way I thought I would, because I don't feel like she has left. And I know part of her is in me, as well as her spirit definitely feels near to me. Namaste. Namaste to you, Bear, and that's a wonderful thing to share. Thank you.
Yes, very nice comments to recreate Venerable Varapanyo explanation to all of you. Thank you for all comments and question. I would say that we will have very limited time and we will answer several questions. Okay, and finally, we will acknowledge for all questions what we have been answering. Okay, shall we move to next question from Real? Yeah, that's another guy. Sorry, the same guy that who asked for the basic meditation practice. Maybe he's a new beginner meditators. So very sorry, like what would I going to say? Yeah, very good for him to want to know several techniques to meditate with anapanasati, mindful of breathing in and out. So I will hand over this to Venerable Prapanyo to guide him one more time that details a little bit more about concentrate breathing in and out technique.
So, starting from a somewhat relaxed mind, maybe you go for a run, or maybe you take a hot shower, or maybe you are doing some yoga, and then your mind is somewhat calmed down. Then you take a seat or you lay down and you focus on your breath. You focus on the feeling of your breath. Maybe you feel the breath coming in through your nose. Maybe you feel the breath in your stomach or in your chest, the physical experience of your breath. And so sitting or laying down, focusing, feeling that physical experience of your breath and breathing. It doesn't get more special. It doesn't get more magical. You're just breathing. You're focusing. You're emphasizing on your breath. As you do this, as you breathe, as humans tend to do when you're laying or sitting down in a somewhat relaxed state, you're going to get distracted. You're going to start thinking all kinds of thoughts. Oh my gosh, I need to get up. It's not working. All kinds of things. And maybe you practice meditation for 30 minutes. And for 29 minutes, you are thinking, stressed, sleeping for 29 minutes and 59 seconds. But for that one last second, when you notice that your mind is thinking, that you're distracted, that you're caught up, and then you come back to your breath, to the physical experience of your breathing, that's your meditation. So it's just making it a habit, making it something that you come back to again and again. Just breathing. And there are different methods, there are different ways to approach it, but that's the basic methodology.
Okay, thank you for all comments and questions. We would like to acknowledge to all the comments and make a short summarize what we have been discussing in this Facebook Live today. There are so comments. This is, I think, the first ever that we got almost 50 comments. I think so. Sometimes I cannot get all the. I mean, some people send sticker for compliments, give a courage to monks. That's a lot. So many thanks for those compliments. And so let me make a short summarize. Today we have been discussed about several things. You can after we have finished this, you can go back to listen earlier, about how to strengthen your mind to overcome your energy down or breakdown to restore your power of your meditation, empower yourself to meditate again. And also very important to know the how to apply, kindness. We call the metta meditation to any situations of your life when you are stuck with any suffering. Not only apply meditation as a model of the meditation, like sitting or mindful in some position, but you can do something else, like apply some meritorious action, good thing for the others, to accumulate some perfection for your mind to have a power. And several questions concerned to Dhamma conflict, in order to solve and find the right mindset, right view, to allow yourself get peace back, and have the understanding the impermanence of the world and life, the ultimate truth of life, impermanence, suffering, and non-self, to uh, allow you not to too much attach, too much dwelling with anything in life, to will easily to be happy. uh, so the more you detach from things that you too much attach, the more you feel easy to live your life and easy to be happy in daily life. And don't forget to feel grateful to each moment, each action of your life. That's my short summarize for this. Venerable, would you have some any um, suggestion finally before we finish this Facebook Live?
Well, I am having some technical issues here, so hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes, and some background noise is fine. Yes.
Okay. But I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming and participating in this monk chat, this contemplative event. For me and Venerable here, this is our full-time lifestyle and job to focus on the Dhamma, on a meditative life, on the ethical life, and we really appreciate, I know, your willingness to step into that practice with us. And it really inspires us in our practice and to continue doing these kinds of activities. So I just want to thank everyone for joining, and also, once again, taking a moment of silence or appreciation for Martin Luther King Jr. And all of the suffering and turmoil that going on in the USA right now, and has been, and of course within ourselves as well, suffering. And just appreciating that peace that we have access to moment, and of course that non-violent way of dealing with difficult situations that Martin Luther King Jr. embodied, even in the face of such adversity and violence. And so I would hope that we can take this as an inspiration to live and to practice non-violently, compassionately in our own lives in a similar way. So thank you everyone so much for joining the Monk Chat this evening.
So finally, once again, we will keep doing this kind of Facebook Live to be the beneficial for all audiences from all over the world, that allow to ask and chat with Buddhist monk, have an interaction real time in Facebook Live. Okay, see you another day of Monk Chat Facebook Live on Saturday and Tuesday. Tuesday, we're focusing more about the meditation practice, and for the Saturday, it will a general conversation. So one more time, if anything I made mistake in the conversation, and any inconvenient, during we're doing Facebook Live, please forgive us, especially my English. It might be difficult for you to understand. I'm originally from Laos. Okay, I'm Lao Buddhist monk, and I'm studying in Buddhist University in Chiang Mai, and so that's why I'm able to be part of this Monkchat program, which is run under Buddhist University. Uh, so finally, please keep following us in this channel, and you will enjoy and get some knowledge from our discussion. So finally, I wish everyone to be happy and secure, free from all kinds of suffering, free from all from unwholesome thing and bad deeds. Wish you have a peaceful life, happy life, and more prosperity in your life. Thank you. Good night in Thailand. Good morning in Europe, in America. I This is morning time. I don't know, but whatever. Good night. Good luck.